the best thing so far is the accuracy of when you call people. I called a mother today, and she picked up immediately. She was at some birthday party, but she picked up, and she was as sweet as ever, but still told me no.
Yeah.
Versus 3 years ago, I
Oh,
called
yeah.
and they're like, dude, you got the wrong number.
Oh, well, 3
had
years
6
ago,
people.
yeah, so 3 years ago, we were just kind of doing like a pass-through skip tracing.
Yeah.
But now we have the file on every person in the country, and then we are able to match and pre-match that with all the houses in our database as well. So there's no button, it's pre-matched, right? You notice probably that it's there. You can even filter by what's their education level, what's their language preference, filter by their age, filter by their income. So it's more than just a quick phone number. It's like a whole file on that, and you could filter by that as well. So I'm glad you noticed it was really improved.
No, it was
the
fantastic.
postcards too. With the handwritten postcards, I used to get so
I
many
love the
calls.
postcards.
Have you done a deal from one?
No, I've actually.
Well, we got to get you a deal.
I had one owner I almost closed on. It was like an 18.
No, I definitely.
Okay.
But he ended up holding it.
I definitely got some deals.
Thanks for
from it.
sharing too. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
Being the first one to come up on the mic.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
No, I definitely got some deals from it. The postcards, you know it's a DealMachine postcard when you see that light blue. Or that
yeah, with the blue border. That was the classic
you
that
know
I
it's a
always
DealMachine
sent.
if you see that turquoise blue.
So you can do any postcard you want now, but I even still send the classic one because that's just how it started.
No change from the classic.
Keep it simple.
Yeah, the classic
My
work.
favorite aspect of the classic one is when you can put the Google image when they don't have a picture of their house.
Right.
You can put the Google image up there, or the Google image just loads.
Yeah.
Or you take a screenshot. I used to take screenshots, crop it, and put it in there, and then they're like, "How'd you get a picture of my house?"
Yep.
That was my favorite line to get every time I went up.
What was your answer to what's your favorite part about being a real estate investor?
Favorite part about being a real estate investor: interacting with the people and helping to change their lives.
Well,
Number
like
one.
the mom, that was pretty fun.
Yeah.
That was nice. She was sweet.
She was sweet. She told
Yeah.
me no, but she was still sweet. Some, we got Sour Patch moms out there.
Yeah, it is rewarding to be able to do that because the people are always wondering like, oh, how am I going to say the perfect thing to try to convince them to sell their house? I'm like, oh no, you got it all wrong.
Yeah.
There's no convincing someone to sell their house.
No.
You're just trying to have a lot of conversations so you find someone who's so thankful to talk with you that it's just easy like butter.
Yeah.
You're like, man, I'd really need to sell this. Like, what can you do for me? And that's what you're looking for.
And I have a different question for you.
Yeah.
You have found an incredible level of success in a very niche area. What is the end goal for you? Like, because this can go on forever. And somebody is like you that's at
It'll
the
go
top.
on longer than me. I'm not even going to go on forever.
Yeah. So what's the end goal for you?
Yeah, I mean, I took a step and I was like, man, I really saved so much money whenever I was in my 20s. Like I had a $50,000 a year salary, which isn't bad, but I tried to save half every year. And to do that, I lived with 3 roommates. I drove the old Honda Accord from my dad and bought it from him to do that. Right, so kind of had a decade of like sacrifice. So it is nice that it swung the other way and I've been able to live like a little bit larger lifestyle than 3 roommates in a rusty Honda. But this past year, I just kind of got into race car driving. And it's not like cheap, but it felt weird to kind of spend money on something and then now it's gone, right? It's like I didn't have an asset from that, but it was an experience. So that was something I'm super thankful for that, first of all. And I feel privileged to get to serve everyone that's getting, trying to improve their lives. Like I deeply resonate with that because that's what I spent a decade doing myself. So I don't know that there is an end game, but I was really proud this year of just going out, doing something that there was no way that was possible for me and how I was born and raised. You get what I'm saying? Like to go buy a race car, travel around, have a coach, have a mechanic, like come out to every race, make sure the car's on point, help me build my skills. So I just get bored if I'm not building my skills. You get what I'm saying? So if I were to just have bought a car that looked nice, it wouldn't have lasted like long, right? But the reward and challenge of like developing and building my skills in a new area was something really cool this year.
Last question for you. You are successful now. You're at the top now.
I'm definitely not at the top.
Well,
I thought I was at the top.
Yeah.
I'm gonna let you finish though.
Yeah. No, what advice would you give the David that was struggling with this multi-million-dollar idea? When the nights where it wasn't working, things weren't working out, nobody would help, and you were alone, what advice would you give? If you could go back in time, what would you give that version
Yeah.
Jay? What advice what would you tell them?
So first of all, to clarify, I mean, I used to live in Indianapolis, so I thought, man, I'm like on top here. I moved to Austin. Everybody's so rich in Austin, Texas, that I realized there's so many other levels to get to, you know? So that's just wanted to clarify what I meant by that.
Yeah.
And when I was in my 20s, nothing made me happier than working on something I truly believed in. And so honestly, it wasn't too big of a challenge because there was nothing in the world I wanted to do more. I didn't want to go on dates. I didn't want to go on trips. I didn't want to go, you know, all these things. The tough part didn't happen until 4 or 5 years in, actually, because then what I had built, it didn't start to fall apart, but it started to have some issues, right? So then now I've got a team of 50 people. I've got like a bigger house payment, you know, an expensive car that people could see. So then when we started to get like less traffic, right, because that can happen with any business. Maybe Google changed their algorithm. Maybe Instagram changed their algorithm, right? Anything like that. And then you get less traffic and you have a lot of expenses. That was the most stress that I've ever had in my life, right? So it was like 9 months, couldn't sleep, was worried about the team I just brought on. And I was like, am I going to be able to pay them? If I let somebody go, is that going to ruin the culture and trust from the people that stay, right? So just all these like endless thoughts. And I would say the way that I did get out of that was instead of kind of not talking with anybody, not socializing, go reach out, ask for help. If something like that happened again, like 2 mentors, 2 peers, instead of trying to solve it just myself. That was when I got really into fitness too, because I was so like stressed out that I couldn't go to sleep, right? So you like wear out your body and it kind of calms your mind, right? So that it could apply to anyone who's experiencing stress. And so I'm still really into fitness, working out as well for that type of stuff. And so I'm just kind of going back and telling you how I would have done that period differently, you know? And then of course, there was too much concentration risk on, you know, one YouTuber that, you know, decided to shift gears. And that's one of the things that kind of coincided with raising expenses. Well, now I got less people coming in. Shit, what do I do? So then the other thing would be like, focus on what works, double down on what works. But once you get big enough, well, now we need to add some other type of lead source rather than just YouTubers. Does that make sense? So that's whenever we started to do paid ads. We formed our own marketing team so that I would say like 40% of people that come to us come through like a partner, but now we also do our own marketing as well. So we're not totally relying on just one other person.
No, man, incredible story, incredibly inspirational. And I love to talk to visionaries that go through hell before they're heaven.
Yeah, I appreciate the actual questions too. That was really cool.
Yeah, man.
I'd love to have you on the podcast as well,
to,
and we could talk about your journey and some of the deals that you've done.
To.
When did you get started?
Almost 10 years ago.
Really?
Yeah.
Damn.
I was wholesaling because I didn't get a promotion that I knew I deserved. I got overlooked because somebody put in more time. I ran circles around them and I got disrespected, and I went into I'm a producer at ESPN.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so I went into my editing dungeon. I closed the door. It was soundproof, and I stared at the screen with tears in my eyes and anger because all my money was here. And I said, I will never, ever let myself do this to myself again. I would never put my money in one place ever again. And I went on Google. I said, what do the richest people in the world do? Real estate was the first thing that popped up. Went on YouTube, spent the next 7 hours straight just studying everything I possibly could. In pain.
Yeah.
And that pain drove me to where I am now.
So you're saying your boss really pissed you off?
Yeah.
But you couldn't just quit. You couldn't just leave.
I had no choice.
That was your main income source,
it was my
right?
only source. And I said, there's no way that the wealthy do this. I was in so much pain.
Yeah, it doesn't feel good.
With tears in my eyes, just typing in anger. I said, I would never feel this way again. Found you, started wholesaling, didn't get anything. A couple months, a year in, boom, $500. I still had to find a picture. I still have that picture to this day. And even family didn't believe, because nobody else had ever really done it.
Right.
And so it was difficult.
Right.
And I was alone for a lot of it. I fought through a lot of it. And then 500 came, then 5,000, then 10,000, then 17,500, and After a while, they stop laughing at you and they start asking you questions.
Yeah, that's funny if that switches. My parents actually were very concerned, and they were like, man, you got this college degree. Don't you want to go get that stable job, have a nice house, and park that car in the driveway?
Yeah.
And they're like, everyone I talk to, the landlords, they trash their house and everything.
Yep, the horror
and
stories.
the key that you probably figured out that a lot of people don't is like, the families advise them their whole life, right? But has your family achieved what you really seek? And if the answer is no, then you should listen to somebody who has.
Yep.
And so my family was talking with people who were like accidental landlord, and they inherited a property, right? And then they had an issue. But I was talking with people that had success at rooms like this, where I knew this person has 100, rental properties.
Yeah.
So that's why I knew it was possible.
Yeah. See,
Yeah.
I love that. It's a beautiful
And
thing.
then once
that,
once
do it,
I
yeah.
had some of the signs of success, then I
questions?
bought them a concert ticket. I was like, come on to this concert, guys, or come take this trip. So it was a nice
It's a
way to
beautiful
pay it
thing.
back. Yeah, it was a beautiful thing.
Yeah, my moment, and it's a small moment, but large moment. My mom was one of my toughest critics, and I said, God, I want to pay her off for the summer. She's a speech pathologist.
Oh, I saw one of those when
Yeah.
I was a kid.
Yeah.
I was a tongue thruster. It's not sexual. It's just like
Yeah.
when you swallow, your tongue goes
Yeah,
forward.
yeah,
It kind of
she works-
pushes your teeth out.
Yeah, no, she works with people like that all the time. And
Yeah.
she works the summer.
Yeah.
And I said I want to hand her a check. I handed her a $7,000 check from a deal, and she looked at me like, well, her words were, I know what Tyler Perry's mom feels like. And because Tyler Perry's mom was telling you to stop messing around with those stupid plays and go get a job, now he's a billionaire. And she's like, I feel like Tyler Perry's mom. You made me eat my words. And
Wow.
I was like, I love you. Don't worry about it. It
So,
was awesome.
with the 7,000 was just like symbolic, or did you feel like you owed that to her?
It wasn't symbolic to a degree. It was the perfect amount because she had already been blessed with 3,000 for some, and I asked to give her 10. I said I wanted to give her 10, and so somebody had already given her 3. So I was negotiating a deal, and I was like, I need X amount. I went back, had a conversation with the seller, fixed it, added some more money on to my cut of the deal, closed it, wrote the $7,000 check, and handed it to her.
What was the first deal that you did? Like, why did that person want to sell their house to you rather than list it with an agent?
They sold it to me because I was the only person that actually listened. And I was so tired because I was doing the scripts that everybody on YouTube tells you to do, and they weren't working. And so I just stopped doing it, and I just said, you know what? Look, I don't think this is going to be a deal, but I'm talking to this sweet lady anyway.
You kind of let down your guard,
Yes.
right? Sorry.
Yes.
You let down your guard and you just listened and had a conversation.
That was it.
The scripts, to me, they prevent you from like listening because your attention, my attention, when I do that, it's like I'm so focused on the script and what to say next, I don't like hear what they say, and they can tell.
Yeah.
It kind of sounds weird.
Yeah, just listen,
Yeah.
had a conversation, and she said, look, if you can help me. I just made a phone call and said, look, here's the deal, this is what it looks like. It's not the best. Person was like, I can still do that. There's not much there, but we can do something. I was like, look, I said, if I...
This is your first deal ever.
Yeah.
Why did she need to sell it in general, you think? Do you know?
Remember?
Remember?
She was older and she wanted to leave. It was out in the I would say a suburb area of Connecticut.
Mm-hmm.
Her and her husband wanted to leave. He was a nice, sweet guy too. And he just was like, we're just older. We already have a place that we want to go to, but this place is holding us from going to that place. There's a condo. 55 and older community.
Got it.
So they were like, we're stuck here.
Yeah.
So I helped them get unstuck.
Nice.
$500. Yep, solving problems.
So who did you sell it to?
I sold it to an investor in the community.
How'd you find him?
He was, I think I saw him I met him on Facebook and saw him at a RIA meeting.
Okay.
And I said, hey, look.
So once you had the deal, you already knew this guy.
To a degree.
Kind of. You
Yeah.
knew who he was. So
Yeah.
you called him up. You're like, I got this under contract.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so you also got a $17,000 deal. What would you say was the difference between the deal you made $500 and $17,000?
Oh, by far my ability to solve the problem. And I skipped all of the preliminary stuff and I just started having conversation and all my focus
Meaning,
was,
like you said, do you want to sell your house?
Yeah, no, I said
To start things out.
Yeah,
Yeah,
And I
okay.
started off with that, but more so like, why would you sell a beautiful house like this? What's going
And what
on?
was their reason?
And their reason was they needed the cash to move.
Okay.
And it was actually tax delinquent.
Okay.
And they were like, and it was the son that needed to move because the mother lived somewhere else, and it was her father's house that her son was living in, and he needed to move.
Okay.
And he said he was going to buy it. He didn't end up keep it. It was in a beautiful town.
So
It was an ugly house in a beautiful block.
Okay.
I said, hey, look, I'll find him a new place. I'll help him move, get the stuff out, and we'll give you some cash because they were going to lose it. So saved it from auction. She didn't know it was happening, so I alerted her to that. When she figured out, like, I became the person to help her through so many stages. Her son, who was, he was on the spectrum, was difficult, but she's like, he doesn't really like anybody, but he's okay with working with you. I was like, thank God. But he was cool. Got him a new house, a new apartment to live in, and got her some money. Explained everything to her, walked her through it, and she was just like, her words for me, I don't care what the price is at this point. She's like, you saved me, and I didn't know I needed saving. That was her words.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah,
That's
so-
got to feel good.
It felt so good.
Thanks for doing good work out there, man.
No, I appreciate you.
Oh, that was good.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening to the DealMachine Real Estate Investing Podcast. Please leave us a review and follow along wherever you're listening to your podcast.